the Slip and Dip podcast.
Oh, beautiful, man. What is up, people? Welcome back to the Slip and Dip podcast. We are with you with three fantastic guests today. I am Matthew Wells. Alongside me, as always, Kendrick Johnson holding it down. We have today for you guys Austin Arnett, Dean Thomas, and Justin Buchholz. We got a fantastic show coming ahead, but we got to talk some combat sports real quick about what went down this weekend. A lot of stuff, man. What's your immediate reaction to the ESPN Plus era?
I think it's gotten some false criticism and some false praise. It's like we gotta let it play out before we can really get a gist of the ESPN era and see if it's better or not. I think it might be better to the actual fighters financially, so props to them. But to the actual viewer, the jury's still out. We got brothers in positions that me and you could do and make half as much money and do a 10 times better job. But I ain't gonna talk about people though. That ain't none of my business though.
We are. It was a pretty good show, man. One of my biggest takeaways is the pacing of the main card, because it went the early prelims, terrible pacing. The ESPN, terrible pacing. But when it went back to the Plus, when it was back on the app, they were like, let's knock these fights out. And I was loving it. Man. There was like commercial break. Hey, the next fight's already walking out. I was like, this is the way it's supposed to be, man. I hope they get it like that every time going forward. I know there will be some main cards on big ESPN, so it won't always be that same pace. But hey, I'm with that pace all the time going forward. So hopefully we see a lot more of that.
I don't like the going from the TV to the app. I think it should be opposite. You go from the app to the TV. That would be more advantageous.
Yeah, the thing with that though is like if you do it that way, you kind of get the timing messed up. Like if you try to keep that same pacing, like, and you get knockout after knockout after knockout, you'll have like an hour of dead space. So that's what's kind of weird if you do it from the app to ESPN. So I don't know. I just wish there was a perfect way. I mean, with ESPN, it's the worldwide leader, so they should really just keep the pacing high, and then they could go to SportsCenter or something.
Yeah, they're not worried about windows and stuff because they already own all that space. So I think that's null and void. And another thing too that I think that people overlooking. I heard about the computer app crashing and all that, is they come on like the ESPN Plus on all these different streaming forms. I actually used my PlayStation 4 and mine didn't crash last night. I saw all the stuff on Twitter, like it does the triple glitch and like you have to hit live to go up, like, but you're only like in 6 seconds or 5 seconds in real time. But I could deal with that versus the crashing of the app like everybody was talking about. I didn't get none of that business.
I did. It crashed for me a couple of times, but I was able to hit refresh on my browser and it came right back up until the Joseph Benavidez fight versus Dustin Ortiz. It went down for me. Came back up with like 3 minutes left in the fight. So I was really frustrated about that. I missed a fantastic flyweight fight. I even put on the tinfoil hat. I was like, is Dana trying to hide the flyweights from us? That was going on. But no, it was other than that one hiccup right there, which I'm sure that they'll figure out in the future, man. It was good. I mean, the app came in beautiful, 1080p. It was awesome. Looked good. I like the presentation. I like the everything, even the new belt. I mean, it's all good.
The belt's cool. We gotta get some new music, bro. That music was kind of corny.
I'm not really like, unless it's something like you throw some country on there or something, like then I'll be pissed.
But that'll get you crunk to watch it. Like, man, I'm bumped up watch this shit.
It's better than Face the Pain. Anything's better than Face the Pain. I'm over Face the Pain for about 10 years now. So if it's not that, I'm good.
But the card, like, I think they definitely should have moved the Benavidez fight up to third, and put you had the Medeiros and Gillespie fight before the Page and the Ostrovich. I would have been cool with that, but it is what it is. They're not gonna get it right, but shocking outcome. Pops to Henry Cejudo. Your boy got his first article on Yahoo Sports.
Yeah.
And I put in the article that Henry Cejudo punched his ticket to the Hall of Fame, and people in the thing, how's that relevant? Please show me that other person that's beaten T.J. Dillashaw and Demetrius Johnson ever. Let's know them back to back. I'll wait.
Yeah. If
it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Say lucky, controversial, whatever. At the end of the day, this man has a KO of who could be the best 135-pounder ever, and a defeat. Yeah, he got knocked by him, but he got a loss on Demetrius Johnson's record, who's considered the best 125-pounder. So he has
Split decision.
We seen people do less that got in.
Split decision loss.
No, but I'm saying we seen people do less and got in.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's time to give him his props, and considering him up there, I mean, it's hard not to. And some people want to question the stoppage. I get it. Yeah, maybe you should let them. Maybe let TJ get a little bit more rock. Maybe let him go. Like I'm on the fence about that. I'm not mad at the stoppage.
I'm cool. I'm cool with it because you see TJ talking about the double leg. Yeah, I went for single leg takeover, and then next thing I know, I'm talking to this dude. Yeah, because when he lets you back up, he pieced your ass up again, and you fairly went limp. As soon as you went limp, most time they take a second or two to stop it. He was right there, so that's why I'm cool with it. Because you see, he dropped again.
It was too quick. It was too quick because he did still have his arm on Henry when the ref came in.
But he got hit 3 times and he went limp.
A couple more shots, I'm good with it. But so I can see everybody complaining about it. I can see people that are just good with it, saying it was good stoppage. I can see it. I'm like I said, I'm on the fence about it. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it either way. But I mean, for that to happen,
we've seen worse stoppages.
Yeah, we've seen worse stoppages. We've seen much worse stoppages for sure. But just shout out to Henry, man. Going out there at the end of the day, he's got his hand raised, and I mean, TJ was reluctant to say that was a loss, but I mean,
my man was in denial. Shout out to my man Adrien Broner. He's like, hey, dude, you know you're a drug dealer. No, I'm not a drug dealer. That's essentially what he was saying. Right. He was like, a loss was like a cuss word to him.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. That's what it was. That's what it was, man. It's so funny that you put it that way because it's true. But no, I mean,
don't say loss, boy. That's a cuss word over in the dealer side. So
and TJ, he was kind of right in the fact that he admits when he loses. Yeah, look at some of his past losses. Yeah, he's honest about it.
Now, really, his last 2 losses though, and I actually had a win against Arnett Cruz. He basically got robbed there, and then this one. So when was his loss that he's like, yeah, man, that dude really got me.
Yeah, I guess I see what you mean. And to flip to the boxing side of things.
Oh, you're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side, bro.
I mean, hey, that's what I got pulled up. But just speaking about guys not admitting losses, Adrien Broner fought Manny Pacquiao last night. And on pay-per-view Showtime. I
was special bond with him. I was at his first.
Packer Broner.
No, with Broner. I was at his first loss with Marcus Madonna. I don't know how he survived. Like, brutally beat that man. He got up, was whooping his ass back, and then got casual and got caught, and ended up losing the decision. But he didn't do many one-on-ones. I was one of the few people. Hey, man, you look cool. I'll talk to you. So, yeah, I was like, this was like one of my first big fights to cover. I don't say it was my 3rd championship fight to cover because I went to Canelo Trout, and I went to Mayweather Guerrero, and then I went to that one in San Antonio. So I was just pumped to be in the house. I'm not getting my feet wet. And I'm like, this dude is either going to be a star or he going to be a fool that stays relevant because people like fools in boxing. And he's kind of turned into both. Because at the end of the day, he's a 4-time division champion. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
Everybody's more intrigued with what Broner is going to say in his antics.
Exactly. I said he's a star and a fool. He's both.
Yeah. Listen,
the fact he's still fighting people like Pacquiao at this stage of his career, like when it doesn't warrant it,
is great spot for him. But when you go out and you land 2 punches in the first round, you land 4 in the second, 4 in the third, 8 punches were the most he landed in any round in this fight, and that was in the 4th round. 8 punches. And this man was adamant that he won this fight after the fact. He only landed 1 punch in the final round. And everybody, like, bro, I mean, I don't know if he was just playing up for the angle or what, trying to, talk his way into another big fight. I don't know if that was part of the angle, but this man literally could not tell me that he legitimately thought he won this fight and me to look at him with a straight face. Like, it's impossible. It's impossible. Like, at the very most, he won 2 rounds. Like, if you're being the most generous judge on the planet.
Yeah, like, you got me on that one. I was on
round 4 was like the only round you could really definitively say he won if you're looking back at it. But no, like, this fight wasn't close. Pacquiao went out there and did Pacquiao things, blitzing forward, putting combinations together. He had Broner hurt badly a couple of times, and just did what Manny Pacquiao does, what we've seen him do throughout his entire career. And I mean, hell, doesn't matter how old he is. One thing though that came out in the post-fight press conference, which is pretty damn impressive, Manny Pacquiao had a head cold that affected his weight cut, and then After the fact,
they don't cut that much weight. It's not UFC.
He had to leave. I know, but he had to leave the press conference because his head, like he had to keep blowing his nose. His nose was all swelled up. Like he couldn't take any more questions at the presser because his my cold's acting up too bad. I gotta go. So he went out there and did all that work on Adrien Broner with the head cold. It's crazy to me. So that was impressive stuff, man. But overall, hopping back to the UFC side of things, man, ESPN Plus airs got off to a great start last night. Shout out to Donald Cerrone with a huge win. Looked fantastic. Papa Cerrone is in the house. Papa Cerrone calling out Conor McGregor, and Conor instantly said, "Let's do it if I get that style of fight from you." I'm with it.
I think people just have the nostalgia. You don't just change your stripes. Oh, now you want to fight for belts. Now you focus 40 fights into your career. No, props to Cowboy. He did what he did. He did his thing. He exposed a youngster. For you young and up-and-coming fighters, to you and your corners, please have a plan B and plan C in your life, because plan A is going to fuck up when you go against a future Hall of Famer or somebody in the top 5. You can't keep doing the same thing and think it's going to work. This is not LFA. This is not Bellator. Get your stuff together. But I'll go back to Cowboy. Did what he had to do. Fought a very good technical fight. It was all experience, basically. Like I said, the old man still got it. It's like he knew. That's why he's seen every style. So he was like playing chess. He was a step further. I don't think that's gonna work against Mr. McGregor. He gets the payday he probably rightfully deserves. But let's get real. When does Cowboy perform when the lights are on the big stage against somebody superior? We see him basically, for lack of a better word, nut up when the lights are on and the chips are down. Cowboy's not around.
You can only say that when he gets a title opportunity. Every other spot he shows up.
Well, what we fighting for? Just to entertain? We're entertain like we talk about, like we'll talk about later. We're an entertainment fighter. Are we lacking something? Are we trying to win titles?
Of course, we're trying to win titles. That should be the main goal. But I mean, obviously, go in there, make some money, get out with your health. But yeah, I'm with it, man. I'm with it. Cerrone and Conor, man, that needs to be the fight.
And then I think top 3 winners of the night behind, of course, Cejudo, Joseph Benavidez, because now he's in the mix. Because 125, they can't just get rid of it now. And then Cowboy Cerrone, we got Cowboy Cerrone, he's a winner. And shout out to the Fortress Gym in Dallas, Texas. Hats off to y'all. They had 2 of the best strategic fights with Jeff Neal, Alonzo Menefield. They were well coached. They were well prepared. They had multiple plans in their game plan or more tools in their tool shed, and they got their hand raised because you ain't going to blast everybody. You got to have plan B and C. So we see things coming from that gym, and hopefully we can get some of these guys on the show because nobody really knows about them. They're like the Lone Ranger that just showed the hell up. Like, who are these guys?
Yeah,
but they keep getting their hands raised.
They've been on the radar for a minute, man. But hey,
it's from last year.
They showed out last night on ESPN.
Props to them, Coach Safe and company. Yes, Props to y'all.
Absolutely, they looked amazing. Yeah, man, a great night of fights. And one last thing before we get into the show with our interviews, I do want to hit on the fact that if I don't understand this whole thing with Henry Cejudo wanting to be the hashtag, save the flyweights. Goes out there, starches a 135-pound champ in a matter of seconds, and then gets on the mic and like, hey, let's go up to 135. No, Henry. You get on the mic and say, flyweights are here to stay.
Henry trying to get paid, bro.
You carry the torch for the flyweights. You said all week long, hey, I got the flyweights on my back. And then the first time you get on the mic, you're like, hey, thanks, everybody. Let's do it again at 135. Like, what?
he already did his talking.
What?
When he threw that 2-piece on TJ and they got stepped in, he already did his talking. He's like, run tell that. Run tell that.
How does that help the rest of the flyweights if you're trying to save a division?
Why does he need to talk? Him winning the fight, it should be enough. It's like, he got look at that, run tell that. That's all he got to say. He already did his talking.
No.
You can't blame that man for trying to get more money. Notice what he said. Uncle Dana, he want that money. I ain't mad at him. He's trying to get that money.
Of course, I get that. I get that you want the money and all that stuff. But man, that was the opportunity to say, yeah, flyweights are here.
Why does he have to say it though? Why did his fight speak for itself? Nobody saw it coming. Nobody predicted that. So that should be like, hey, run, tell that.
Some people did predict it.
That's how you do.
Some people predicted it.
Some opportunity DJ can be less than a minute.
No, but I mean, they predicted Henry winning the fight. There was a good amount of people saying he was going to win the fight.
Hey, but last thing before we get to the interviews, it puts what you say, that weight cut, because it's at 135. First of all, it goes longer than a minute. And second of all, I think TJ wins, but that weight cut affected this fight. There's nothing. To me, when I saw him on the scale, like, he looked good for a general person, but compared to what TJ usually looked like, he didn't look good. It reminded me of Joanna when she fought Rose Namajunas. You could tell that weight cut was tough on him, regardless of how good he said he felt. Yeah. And the results speak for themselves.
Absolutely. And Lost in the Shuffle, shout out to Paige Van Zandt. Glover Teixeira looked really good. And
you think?
Yes, he looked good.
Okay, if that dude has any experience and is a real 205er, he gets his ass up out of there. That's false. I disagree on that one. He gets his own ass up out of there. If he fight a youngster that's a legit, like our guy, what's our guy, Dominic Reyes? Let Dominic Reyes have that same position and tell me he get out that first round. Run, tell that.
I'm running and telling you. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like,
that'll happen.
He looked good. He was in a bad spot, got out of it, and finished the dude.
No, PVC, she did what she had to do. Got the win. I felt bad. I hope she didn't break Rachel's arm because you could tell she freaked out. She knew what she'd done, but she had to because they didn't stay. The guy didn't stop it.
Absolutely. And our guest from last week, Corey Sandhagen, kicking off the first fight ever on ESPN, on Big ESPN, went out there and put on a show. Wild transition, submission attempts, inverted triangle, and got the arm bar to tap out Mario Batista in the first round. Man.
We don't just have random people up on our show.
Yeah, go back and watch that interview. It was great. And he did everything he said he was going to do, so that was pretty awesome. Let's get into these interviews, man. We got 3 fantastic guests for you. Like I said at the top of the show, this is episode 85. Justin Buchholz, Dean Thomas, and Austin Arnett. It's going to be a fantastic show, guys. Please hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Please hit that like button as well. Share it with your friends. Post it on your blogs. Tweet it out. Facebook it. Whatever you do. And also subscribe on iTunes and on Spreaker. And leave us a review as well. If you can go leave us a quick review on iTunes and rate us 5 stars, we would greatly appreciate that. Helps the visibility of the show, and we're not asking for money yet. So, hey, help us out where you can. Enjoy the rest of the show. We'll hit you up next week with more fantastic guests. I am Matthew Wells. He is Kendrick Johnson. Enjoy the rest of the show. Peace.
Please welcome back to the Slip and Dip Podcast, one of the best MMA trainers in the world today, Mr. Justin Buchholz, who want the floor. My man hit me up out the blue. You got some news to tell us? I'm just freestyling on this, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Doing great, man. Doing great. No complaints over here. How's it going?
Good. What's up with those fights last night?
Man, you tell me. I want to know your thoughts about it because I mean, there was a lot of things surrounding the fight before the fact. For me, at least, with the whole weight cutting thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, how the fight actually ended up playing out. But,
That was a pretty interesting 11-week weight cut, huh? Going down. That I don't think that's ever been done. Who has gone down like that to capture? I guess Randy Couture did that. He went from heavyweight to light heavyweight. So,
yeah.
I guess it's a question, but...
Full disclosure, I know Buchholz told me, he felt like TJ was the better fighter, but that Kendrick could catch him early. So you weren't surprised with what you saw?
No, I wasn't surprised. I was definitely surprised. By the time the fight came around, I was pretty confident I had picked TJ to win the fight. But I had the little side note that he was going to get hit with the right hand. I talked to Robert Meese, Stingray, the boxing coach of Cody Garbrandt. All the time, we always talk about fights and whatnot, and we both had that prediction that he was going to get hit with the right hand. And my question was would TJ going to be able to take that right hand at 25? That was my question, because Henry's got a good right hand, man. He knocked out Wilson. He's dropped guys with that. He dropped Benavidez, I think, with the hook, but he can hit hard, man. I never met a wrestler, like a high-level wrestler, that couldn't crack, Wrestlers know how to use every muscle in their body. They've been training like that since they were kids, and it translates right to striking. I mean, if it's a haymaker or whatever, but once they get some technique, man, wrestlers, they hit hard. So, kind of answered in the. What do you guys think of the stoppage? You think the stoppage was okay?
Oh, he was hurt because what happened is because TJ talking about him grabbing for do the one leg, trying to do a single leg takedown or whatever, but he lets him up and he pieces him up 2 or 3 times and then he goes limp because he rolled under. So he stopped it right when he went limp. It was a perfect stoppage to me.
Yeah, I thought I can't argue against that stoppage for sure. Like the stoppage was, it looked like a good stoppage, but for the sake of a fight on that caliber and for TJ's sake, not just TJ, but for Henry. So there's no question of Henry here. It's like, I'm all for a fighter's safety, but let's give another 20 seconds. And if you realistically look at the opinion, or if you realistically look at the fight, we saw what happened in 30 seconds. What do you think would have happened with 20 more seconds of an onslaught like that? But we need to see that Henry to just, or maybe TJ pulls a Czech Congo like he did on Pat Barry and comes back from the dead. But either way, 20 more seconds would have finalized that fight for us, And I feel like guys who put in that much work, like TJ said himself, you need to let that go a little bit. Like, sure, he could get a little more concussed, or maybe he could. I mean, you could be seriously injured with a couple more shots, but that's what they're out there doing. They're risking it. They're putting on the line, and there needs to be a definitive answer. So I kind of agree that the stoppage was early, but I can't take anything away from Henry's performance.
Do you think that maybe the ref was being a little bit more tentative on the stoppage, or not tentative, but more quick to stop rather, because he knew that TJ was cutting so much weight that he was going to be a little bit more chinny?
Oh man, that would have been the worst idea for a referee to have something like that in his head. The referee needs to judge from when the bell goes on the safety of the fighter, If he's incorporating stuff like that, and it looked like he did, man. That guy looked like he had a lot on his mind. He was jumping in and out. I think he did like a half cartwheel. And I rewatched the fight, and I'm watching this dude, and he's like jumping in and sliding out like 2 different times before that. He was antsy, man. That's the guy on a Mexican standoff. He's going after his gun. He's getting shot first. He can't. To me, like, that guy was calm, cool, and collected, like a referee should. Like, shout out to my boy Herb Dean. And these guys. Where's Herb at? Where were these guys at? Where was Yves Levine? Maybe not Yves. Well, I think Yves Levine is a good referee. Where were these guys at? Where were the named referees? And I appreciate that point from Dana White saying that. I mean, it's in New York, so they're like, we're going to put this first timer, and then people are like, oh, he reffed Bellator before. It's like, come on, man. This is a super fight, and this is the highest stakes in sports. In sports, this is the highest stakes right now. And you let this guy who's had, a couple Bellator fights and has done one UFC before ref this, it was a mistake. Mistake by the athletic commission, And I'm the first to criticize the athletic commission because I always think they kind of screw things up.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I'm more of the fact as well that's like, it's a championship level fight, man. You got to let these guys, I mean, you don't necessarily have to see somebody go completely out per se, but like, it's a championship fight. If he's still showing any kind of inkling of like intelligent defense, like even if he did get dropped and get rocked, I mean, that was like a early prelim stoppage if you ask me. Like, and even in the early prelims, you see guys get more of a chance than that sometimes. So it was. I can see both sides of it, but for me, like, I don't know, like you were saying, Justin, it's like 30 more seconds, like, it's probably just going to be, Cejudo just continuing to do what he was doing, but I think we got to see it.
Yeah, because remember, I thought about it to myself. Remember Frankie and Gray Maynard 3?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it 2? Was it 2? I would get it mixed up.
Shit, all of them. They were all crazy.
but the one that he got when he was on La La Land in the first half, did the stakey leg. Then he comes back and just slams him, and then just whoops his ass.
That was 3.
Yeah.
That was a third, yeah.
He was a lot worse than TJ was last night.
Right.
100%. Frankie gets more hurt than TJ does warming up for a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta let that go. I mean, you have to let it go. I don't take nothing away from Henry. I don't at all. I credit him with that win. He turned back Dillashaw. And Dillashaw's streaking right now. And I think that was part of played into that fight too was Dillashaw's confidence going in there. I mean, to be that confident stepping into a new weight class like this. For me, the entire strategy once Mighty Mouse was out of the picture, they should have changed the plan. Even though he had a coach, Calvillo, who's a genius, he's a mathematician, that said he can make the weight to fight Mighty Mouse. The whole point was to fight Mighty Mouse. Why are you going down to fight a guy who just won the belt? Right. Dude, it's his first defense. You're arguably the best 135-pounder on the planet. You're arguably that. You are. It's a good argument. He's a two-time 130, the only two-time champ. His only loss to Cruz and.
Now, Dominic is two-time champ.
Huh?
Dominic's two-time champ.
Oh yeah, but Dominic never lost it. You know. So.
Yeah.
Home with the lineal championship. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're right.
He threw a boxing term at that. I like that.
Yeah. It's true. Hey, he's a two-time champ. He beat Cody twice. Reclaimed the belt. Had a real close fight with Cruz. Beat Barao. Had these upsets. Had an amazing career. Right. So he is in the argument for the best 135-pounder. Then you go and you fight Henry Cejudo, who got the belt 6 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, who beat. So here's the thing, too, with Demetrious Johnson. And this is, I think we talked about this before. I was like, Demetrious Johnson's been perfect for 12 fights, knocked Henry out before, and he slips up for 2 minutes of a 25-minute fight, lets a guy ride him a little bit, and they take his belt from him and send him out to promotion. It's like, now you got to fight that guy. That's the point where even though TJ could make 25, you don't do it at that, in my opinion, you know? And it's all hindsight's 20/20. But to go down and fight Henry, I wouldn't give him that kind of respect if I'm the 135-pound champion. I'd rather see TJ bulk up and go fight Max. Now, that got me interested, you know?
No, he don't want that. He don't want that noise. He don't want that.
let me ask you about this, Justin, because, I mean, it's kind of like along the lines of what you're saying there. You know, there was a lot leading up to the fight where it was Dana is still non-committal about saving the flyweights, right? And obviously the outcome of the fight was a huge bearing on that decision, I would think. Cejudo goes in there and he's talking about it in the fight week, like he's representing for all the flyweights as well. He's like, yeah, like the flyweight division's on the line here. Goes out there, starches TJ, if early stoppage, whatever. End of the day, he finishes the fight in 30 seconds, right? And then he gets on the mic and says, "Let's go to 35." I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
He want that money. He got to get that legacy. He want to be a champ. Dude, I don't blame him.
Is he hashtag save the flyweights or not? Because if he's hashtag save the flyweights, you get on the mic and say flyweights are here to stay.
Now you can't get mad at that man want to make money. Don't you think this makes him a Hall of Famer though? Because people say that's a debate. I saw because I wrote an article on Yahoo. Who else has beaten Mighty Mouse and TJ back to back? Please show me who that person is besides him.
No, I agree. No, what Cejudo's done, he has the claim. His claim is coming true of him being the best combat athlete. Who else has a gold medal? Who has beat the pound for pound number one, Demetrious at 25, and then pound for pound number two, TJ? You know what I mean? A pretty dominant 135-pound two-time champion. Yes. No one's done what he's done, and marred with controversy or not, in 20 years, they're just going to see the record. You know what I mean? No one cares about all that crap. He has 2 belts now and a gold medal. So it's interesting. I mean, he definitely is up there with his claims.
But what about the save the flyweights? What about save the flyweights?
He's still chipping on that.
If I was a Henry, I would have said, all right, kill the 35-pound division. 25 is here to stay. Like, get rid of the 35. Like, I don't know. I hate the fact that a heavier weight came down and you know that outcome happened. You know, I feel like, you know, you're the big. Why give up that? Why, like, it's hard enough to win a championship fight against any man worthy of fighting for the belt in the UFC. And you can say, you know, there's been upsets before. TJ versus Barao, Cody versus Dominic Cruz, Bisping versus Luke Rockhold. These are guys who weren't given a chance when they fought. So any man that steps in there and the championship is on the line is dangerous. That is a hard enough situation. Now go to a weight class you've never fought in before. Why put that kind of stuff on yourself? The reason would be to fight Demetrious and go after the pound-for-pound number 1 spot. But that disappeared, and Henry took the place, and you got a guy who's equally as dangerous without the legacy. You don't get – it's Highlander. You cut off his head and you take all his power. But that guy's gone. He left town, you know. He's out with Chatri Sityodtong counting his money, getting ready for that flyweight tournament, you know, which is great, which is – man, I love what's going on with ONE FC right now. And Chatri Sityodtong is like, that guy's a geek, man. When I was over in Singapore, the MMA media and the word on the street was he's got more money than Dana. His practicing, you know. But he's running stuff over there.
Hey, maybe you can help us get some ONE FC guys up on here. So that's a new flavor that's in to be here to stay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. What else do you think about like the whole ESPN presentation and everything like that? The ESPN Plus, like the switching back and forth. What do you think about all that?
That music was terrible. They gotta get better music than that. That music was terrible.
I had a stream going and it crashed like 9 times.
Yes, mine too. Mine
did. I didn't get it crashed. I had buffer. Like it would buffer and be back a few seconds, kind of like you streaming, like on like the video game. But I ran mine through my PlayStation, so I don't know if that had a difference versus being like on a PC. I did mine through my PlayStation, and it never did crash. The whole fight
crashed during the Benavidez fight. Like it went down. It came up with 2 minutes left in the fight. 3 minutes left in that fight. Pissed me off.
Oh, I did. I stopped watching it. I was watching Lakers mess up.
We'll see.
That fight's the only fight I didn't watch from beginning to end on the main card.
Do you have those issues, Justin, or what?
Great fight as well. Close fight.
Yeah.
Joe looked good, and Joe has beaten Cejudo before, so he just got twice as valuable to the company.
Oh yeah, he was the number 2 winner of the night last night, without a doubt.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hashtag save the flyweights. That should be the next matchup right there.
But the ESPN, man, I was digging it. It's kind of weird, man. You know, like I've met people before who say like, I don't like change, even if it's good. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like a lot of people are like that with the belt. Like they make a belt that like means something. Like I looked at it and it looked real corny when I first saw the pictures. Of course, it looked like a Super Bowl ring. It looked like a Power Rangers belt. Yeah. All that stuff.
Power Rangers belt.
It did. It does.
They released the information on it and I saw it like in real life and I was like, that belt is sick. And then I read about it, like what everything means. Everything has a meaning. It's made of all these different alloys, which is funny because those aren't diamonds, they're cubic zirconium. I read that on the website. That's what happens if you get that for your girl. She divorces your ass. You know what I mean? The champs, a $1 billion company is using cubic zirconium. But then if you defend the belt, the cubic zirconiums are replaced with fake rubies. So that's pretty sweet, you know? But the belt, I thought the belt was very cool. And the other thing about the belt is, the thing with MMA guys, I didn't understand it. Like every time they defended a belt, they'd give them a new title.
Yeah.
So walk around with 12 belts. Like they're giving these belts out like candy. This new belt, you don't get another belt unless you defend it 16 times.
Yeah, I know you see the pictures that our first one person I saw it was Mighty Mouse when he had his lined up. Now I've seen pictures with DC got his lined up. Cyborg, if you go in her, like when she does her videos, you see him on like pretty like strategically placed in her apartment or wherever she stays at. But yeah, that is kind of crazy. Like Mayweather's got like 18, but he's won 18.
Exactly. That's different divisions and different champions, and he puts that all on the pool table, lays that out, and it's amazing. Demetrius Johnson does it. I'm like, you defended that one that many times, you know? But all the respect in the world, but there's a different level of what Mayweather's doing and what you're showing. It's not the same, you know? And the casual fan doesn't know that. And it's just funny because the old belt, I love the old belt. Everyone does. But I like the super fight belt, too. I liked it when they had that guy that looked like Boss Rutan in the middle of the octagon.
He said it was Rutan.
Is back in the day, they didn't have the UFC on the glove, like pre-Zupa days, and even like the early Zupa days, it was just a black glove. I remember when they added the UFC to the glove, I was like, man, that is corny. I was saying, that is corny. No one's going to get used to that logo on the glove. Like what happens when someone gets punched in the face, is going to say UFC, and now it's just standard and wonder. You know, it's amazing. It looks awesome. I would rather have the UFC glove. I got used to it, but change can be good. That's what all these like these fair weather fans need to realize. They just find anything to hate on as much as they can, you know, like, so they changed the belt. What do you want to do? Keep that same belt they've been handing out like candy, the same belt that they got fucking 50, or excuse me, they got 50 out there for everybody, you know, like,
and on belts.
Yeah, and it's dope. I think it's dope, you know. People get used to it and they'll like it, and it's a sick belt, man. That thing looks like, I don't know, it's like I love a classic Corvette. I love that. But I like a Tesla. You know what I mean? Like, they're both cars. They're both belts. But, you know, you want to collect those different belts. And I thought it is dope and well executed by the UFC, you know? People give those guys so much crap, everything they do. They can't do anything right. Everyone's a promoter. Everyone's a belt designer. Well, I thought the belt was pretty dope.
Did you see my Photoshop that I did on it? Go to my Twitter. I posted it, or my Instagram. I posted up a picture, and basically I made one small tweak to it. You know the little black space that they have in the centerpiece. I just filled that in with gold, and it looks so much better. It's like a world of difference. But I agree with you, man. I like the theme of the belt. I like the way it looks. I'm with you exactly on the same things when you talk about everybody just gets a new belt whenever they defend it. Like I was never a fan of that whatsoever. Never a fan of that. Like, come on, man. It's like I don't know. It kind of devalues it in a way for me because I want to see the champion walk around with one belt. You never saw. I mean, WWE things here. You never see WWE guys showing off 30 belts, right? I mean, it's different, obviously, but still, it's just like there's one belt. You know, if you a two division champ, hey, you really have two belts. Yeah. Like now, when you go to DC's house, he's got 30 belts. Oh, which one's the heavyweight belt? Like you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. No, I couldn't agree more. And that is sick. Your version looks way better.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Gold. That's what I thought it was actually missing, just a little bit more gold, you know? Maybe they'll make a super fight belt, you know? And then, you know, the more belts, the better, man. Reward these fighters. Like, it's like when Reeboks came in and everyone was like, oh, what's going to happen? Well, what happened is all the cornermen and coaches finally got something when they went to these fights, some gear and stuff, you know? Instead of one stupid shirt, we got bags and shoes and stuff. It was awesome. And now look at it. Like, everyone loves it. Like, it's just change can be good, people.
People.
It's true. It is true, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is, though. I think they're cutting costs. Obviously, that's a cost-cutting measure. I liked how Henry called that out in the post-fight press conference. He's like, I like it. I see what you do with these belts. The whole Cuban zirconia thing, man. At least give them some real diamonds in there. Come on now.
At least make it real diamonds, and I'm cool with them not giving any more belts because, you know, you that belt becomes super valuable. You defended it 6 times. You know, what's more valuable, 6 old UFC belts or one that was defended this many times? You know, they're worth the same to me. You know what I mean? Because that's what they are. That's what they represent. But that one, you know, you got to. It's 6 for 1. They're the same value. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And how about Cowboy? Huh? Holy cow!
Dude. He looked amazing. He
don't want that Conor noise, though. He makes too many mistakes.
He wants that Conor noise. I think that's a perfect fight for both of them right now.
I want to see that fight, an Irishman versus a cowboy. You know what I mean? That's a good matchup. Like I think that would be either way. If say Conor smokes him or Donald can submit McGregor or vice versa, either way. It'd be great for either their careers and the pre-fight build-up and them getting in the cage against each other. That's a fight I definitely want to see. You know?
Dude, I mean, yeah, they've got the built-in thing from the press conference a few years back. Like, there's marketing material there. Like, the fight's already sold. They both said yes immediately. You know, Conor responded on Twitter immediately. Like, let's do this thing, man. And I want to say, like, I like how Alex Hernandez came at him, like, during fight week, too. I liked it. But, hey, at the end of the day, you still got to go in there and perform. And he was taught a lesson or two. Like, Cowboy ain't going to back down from anybody.
Right.
Like, you're either going to put him down or he's going to walk you down like he did. So.
Hey, Justin, what do you think about these people that come in? I'm not even trying to talk about the guy that fight Cowboy corner, but I'm about to talk about them. Like, I know he does what he does well, but why do people think, like, what they do is not – there's not going to be somebody that have a remedy. It's like they don't have no plan B in their life. Like, he basically is like, I'm going to pressure, and nobody's going to be able to take my pressure. I can break it. He's like, he believed his own height, and he got broke down.
No, that's something that I can't. A lot of these fighters coming up now, since the McGregor era, they just run their mouths like a bunch. I mean, the stuff that Alex Hernandez was saying, I'm like, okay, yeah, you can talk back to Cowboy or whatever, but you're like just being a jerk, man. Like, it's not even, if you're being a jerk, dude, like, he said something and you said he's old, you're going to kill him and his time is done. And he's like, why are you saying that about him? Like, you're just being real mean. Like, if this was in school or this was any kind of social situation, everyone would be like, what the hell is this guy's problem? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not classy, not tasteful. And, you know, Hernandez, man, I like the kid. He came out streaking. He beat my boy Beneil Dariush with the quickness and the 40 seconds or whatever, and I love to see a kid come up and going into it, I was like, man, I think a good bet is Cowboy in this fight for sure because he was the underdog. But it was satisfying to see him take over that fight and beat that kid down like that, because of what he said at the press conference, And before that, I wouldn't have felt like that. I would have felt like, oh, man, he turned back this kid. Wow, he'll be back, blah, blah. But I was like, man, good on this one. The guy was just talking too much, And you got to show a little respect in there, man. This is martial arts, man. This ain't a street fight, and it hasn't gone all the way to boxing. You know what I mean? There still should be martial arts respect in there. And an old guy, an OG like Cowboy. I mean, say whatever you want about the guy, but I remember when he fought Rob McCullough in WEC, and then he choked out my boy Kenneth Alexander, his first fight in the WEC, and he did it just a scissor on the head. So we all made fun of Kenneth for a while, but he didn't even have the arm in there. We're like, what the hell happened? But anyways, that was 10, 12 years ago, and the guy's fighting consistently at a top level. So if he gets a title shot or a Conor McGregor match, which is just as good, you know what I mean, for getting paid and the publicity that comes with it. If he can get a McGregor match or a title shot before he's done, that would just be a win for all the OG guys, the guys who've been around for a while, and the guys who've been in the sport for a long time. Because the guy's been there forever, and he deserves something like that. He deserves a Conor McGregor payday, or he deserves a title shot.
Yeah, what do you think about him? Like, what do you think about Papa Cowboy having this different mentality now, talking about like, yeah, I'm ready for the belt now, when like all of us have been like begging for this for 5 years. It's like, it's finally you get it, finally.
I think he should have more kids. You know what I mean?
He should have more kids.
Up on that. Kids or something, or a daughter. He'll kill everyone. So he should probably just have more kids.
Right. No,
and just then he'll finish up with the UFC and he'll just be out to stud the rest of his career, like the rest of his days, on the ranch or whatever he does. So that'd be an ending for him.
Yeah, it's a hell of a performance for him, man. And I'm with the new Cowboy vibe. I'm digging it. Hopefully it is big fights. Hopefully it is that McGregor thing. I think that'd be a perfect matchup for both of those guys. What else what did you think about the Greg Hardy fight?
Oh man, so I have no idea. Like you asked me if I was watching the game, and I was like, huh? What are you guys talking about? Like Greg Hardy, I never heard the name until he got in the UFC. I have no idea. I guess he did some domestic violence on a female, right? He like beat up a woman and then something like this. And then he did that fight, and the guy looks like a beast, man. Like he looks like a beast. He screwed up bad, but that's what happens when you put a guy who's got 3 fights or something in there. You know what I mean?
You think it's more inexperience? Because people were saying that, he got mad. He responded to basically the guy trying to taunt him with violence. That's basically what they were saying.
It's a fight. Once the bell goes, the more violent you are, the better. Like as long as you're within the rules. But it's crazy, man. It's like people would they're just the first to criticize anything, like the stoppage. They should have let it go. But if he lets it go, that ref's got to be fired. You know what I mean? Like it's always like a lose-lose situation because of everyone's negativity bias. Which is a real thing. Which humans are negatively biased. They look at the worst things, and for me, it's like. They kept asking about Rachel Ostovich. I was like, what does this have to do with Rachel Ostovich? Rachel Ostovich got assaulted by a man. And this other guy did that to a woman, and they don't know each other. What is this? Yeah, they're both fighters as well. Why not ask about? They're both in the UFC. What else do they have in common? They're both human beings. Like I don't understand the focus on that. I just didn't get it. Like I think Greg Hardy should have been the co-main event. But Dana White does do that sometimes because he'll bring in a guy, and he'll put a marquee on the card, knowing that they're in for some trouble. That guy he fought was a tough MMA fighter, man. I mean, I don't know nothing about him, but I saw the Gracie tattoo, and I went, oh, if Greg Hardy gets taken down, he's done. Like, right? But he got taken down and he survived, and he was the momentum. I didn't see the middle rounds because wasn't really that interested in the fight, but it looked like the momentum was with him, So I'll see him again.
Yeah, we're gonna have Dean Thomas on to talk about that coming up on the show. To tell me this stuff before we get you out of here. What's up with you? Who you got going? What you got going on? What you got coming up next?
Well, Cynthia Calvillo is in 4 weeks against Cortney Casey in UFC Phoenix. My boy Francis Ngannou and the return of Cain Velasquez. Yes. Dude, so look, man, I love Cain. I fought on the same card as Cain. He fought I can't remember who he fought in Germany. I think he fought Czech Congo. He fought Czech Congo in Germany, Cologne, Germany. Rich Franklin, Vanderlei Silva. I fought Terry Edom. He was a 155er, tall, lightweight, tough ass guy. He corners Darren Till now. He's out of Team Calbon. But
he's a huge dude too. I saw him here in Dallas. He's big.
Yeah. And the return of Cain Velasquez, I'm a big fan, man. That guy's the champ. And I can't wait. And I love Francis, man. Francis is my dude. I love that guy. I can't wait to see him. But man, Cain's been out for a long time. But it's Cain Velasquez. If he comes back anything like he used to, he's going to give anyone in the world a hard night, 100%. And Francis can catch anybody, man. And he proved it to me. Like everyone focused on the Derek Lewis fight, Francis proved to me that he could definitely be champion and beat anybody when he beat Curtis Blades. I never saw the Curtis Blades fight live the first time, but I rewatched it in anticipation of their second fight. And Curtis had landed his jab more effectively in that fight, scored more takedowns, and then he got like his nose twisted or something. They stopped the fight in the third round, but he was doing really good. So I thought Francis was going to be in trouble, and Francis took care of him in 2 minutes. So he's doing what he needs to do, and he's going to be prepared for the best he can prepare for someone like Cain, and that will be a scrap. I'm excited for that, but it's cool that they put those guys on Cynthia Calvillo's card. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Yeah, I'm excited to see her get back in there too. I mean, that's gonna be a good fight for her against Cortney.
Yeah, we'll definitely holler at her before y'all go over there and go to the desert and get y'all scrap on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, her last performance with Poliana Botello, that girl was streaking. She was probably one of the more dodged, more hyped fighters in the division at the time. She had 7 wins with 6 KOs. She was coming off the fastest KO in the division. And Cynthia goes in there and makes her look like a first-timer, submits her at the 4-minute mark after busting her nose and completely neutralizing her, switching stances, which is funny. I was listening to the commentary, and people talk about Dillashaw's footwork and Cody's footwork, but Cynthia comes out there and switches stances, attacking from different angles. And I don't think the commentators for that one even picked up on it. I don't think they even had enough of an educated mind to see what was happening, what she was doing, because I don't know why they didn't say it. There's no girl at 115 pounds moving like Cynthia Calvillo is moving like that. Also, to see her stand up with her fight with Carla Esparza to the evolution she's made in her 9-month suspension to taking apart a Nova Unao fighter. I mean, this is Andre Dede Pederneiras. He's in the corner, and my jiu-jitsu coach Fabio Prado, he told me this. He goes, Dede, which they call Andre Pederneiras, the leader of Nova Unao. He says, Dede don't leave the house for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, if he's there, we got to fight. And he was in her corner, and just respect to him because he's a legend. And I faced off against him in the corner multiple times, TJ Barao, Chad, and Aldo. You know what I mean? And the rivalry between the alpha males and Nova Unao has been a long one. So no one's taken out a Nova Unao fighter like Cynthia Calvillo did. No one has. I mean, TJ smashed Barao 2 different times, but no one's got in there in 1 round and finished a Nova Unao fighter. So Cynthia did that, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a kind of a stamp on that rivalry, and we'll move on from that. But that was an impressive performance, and I don't think she really got enough credit for what she did and what she accomplished in that fight. But no worries about that. She's a warrior. She signed the fight with Cortney Casey 8 days later in Casey's hometown of Phoenix, where the lab's at, where her gym's at, and let's get it on. She's going to be ready to go, and I'm expecting an even better Cynthia Calvillo for that fight. So that's going to be an exciting one.
All right, man. Definitely glad you hit me up, man. We'll have you on after. We'll plan. We'll call our shot after y'all take care of Courtney. We're gonna have y'all both on the next day. How about that? Yeah, run tell that.
Come on fight week, and then I'll just talk shit about everyone on the card and fucking how everything sucks and how the UFC doesn't know what they're doing and all these other coaches are fucking broke dick and don't know.
We'll set it up. I'm down. Let's make it happen.
No, I'm down, man. I love your guys' podcast. It's the best. So.
Appreciate it, brother. Thanks for coming on, man.
Of course,
and watch some other sports besides MMA.
Other sports? What I mean, what there are, dude. I respect all sports, but you mean like boxing? Yeah, I love boxing.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, Earl Spence will fight right around the time y'all fight. No, that's right. Take that back. That's next one. Earl Spence fight up in Dallas in March. I'm pumped up about that.
Senator of the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao got it done. What an amazing human being, man. He's a senator. I mean, I love what he said. He goes, boxing is my passion and civil service is my mission. You know what I mean? He's improving the Philippines, man. The guy's built basketball courts all over the country. He's got boxers coming up now. He put them on the map. Like, it reminded me of what Teddy Atlas, the legend Teddy Atlas in the boxing world, said about when he saw a Jewish fighter. It made all the Jewish kids out there who are getting picked on and everything else believe, hey, he could do it. He could be champion of the world. What can I do? I'm as good as that guy. Well, that's what Pacquiao's done for all the Filipinos. He put them as some of the best in the world for combat sports, and the guy's amazing. That guy really is one of my heroes, and it was amazing to see him get it done against Broner, who's how old, 27 or something?
Yeah.
Like, young man, and Pacquiao being 40 years old, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing, completely amazing, and being a current senator right now.
And took 10 rounds, at least 10 rounds with a head cold. Like, he had to leave the press conference because his cold was acting up so bad.
No way.
Yeah.
Man.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Incredible. Yeah, man. Just we gotta get moving, man. But always fun to talk to you, man. We'll hit you up and let's get that trash talking started before the Cynthia fight.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
All right, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Peace.
All right. Please welcome to the Slip and Dip podcast, making his Slip and Dip debut, UFC featherweight, Mr. Austin Arnett. Thanks for coming on, Austin.
Of course, man. Glad we finally got to make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. How good did it feel to end your 2018 with that big win, and then kind of end that losing streak and kind of like have something to build on this year and getting this early pop?
Yeah, dude, it was huge, man. I was in just a little bit of a rut, having a tough time getting that first UFC W, and then finally got the breakthrough, got a good opponent, good matchup, got the win, and now just kind of rolling into the new year right off the bat, February, keep the momentum going and get another dub.
Is it weird or is it just normal now? This is the third fight in a row that you be fighting outside the country. Is that something that you embrace, or does that make things harder? Or now the fact that you've done this your third time, you know what to do and getting your routine and stuff down? Because I guess got to be crazy in all these different time zones and stuff all over the world. Like, when you say you're a world fighter, you can say you're a world fighter.
For sure. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's not easy traveling. I mean, I'd obviously rather fight somewhere close to home in Vegas or somewhere like that, but this, it's just kind of part of the job, man. You gotta travel the world and take them out wherever they tell you to. So I'm happy to. I went to South America, took out one of their own, and now I'm happy to go to Australia and do the same thing, man. So it's kind of fun going to enemy territory and kicking someone's ass in front of all their friends and family.
Yeah, man. So have you made any, like major changes? I mean, like you mentioned, the little bumps in the road, and your first few fights at UFC. Did you make any major changes before picking up that dub, or was it just finally things came together for you?
Yeah, it's just kind of getting comfortable with being in the UFC. I mean, it's a big jump to go from kind of fighting a regional scene to, man, you're in the big show now. So it took a couple fights, I think, to just kind of get comfortable, get my get a good feeling for it. And so now I'm just comfortable and I'm just having fun, and I got a great team around me, and everyone's on our team's winning right now. Mike Chiesa just had a big win. My other training partner, Sam Cecilia, just fought and won in Bellator. So we're all just kind of rolling right now and feeding off each other, and everything's just kind of cooking at the right time.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a big win for Chiesa. I mean, he looks so much better not cutting weight too. It's made
incredible. A huge difference. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of times he has to stop like weightlifting a certain amount of time before a fight because he's got to cut so much weight. This time he was able to stay strong, stay big, stay athletic the whole time, and it helped out a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's one of our things on this podcast is, at least that I talk about all the time, is weight cutting. And I mean, we kind of saw that too last night in the main event. Like TJ Dillashaw, like, he got clipped and couldn't take a shot. I mean, yeah, I mean,
eventually there is something to be said about cutting too much weight. I mean, your body can only handle so much, and you start torturing it like that, it's not gonna respond well for you when you need it. And I think that is partly kind of what happened with TJ. I think, he made the weight and everything, but it's just too much. The guy looked like Christian Bale off The Machinist, man. He looked terrible. It was gross.
Yeah, that's an accurate description. I haven't heard that one yet, but that's so true. True. Yeah.
I got a meme I'll have to send you guys of Christian Bale and TJ side by side. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, now that you said that, that's pretty damn accurate.
Yeah.
Also, out of your losses to Hakeem, Corey, and Brandon, which one did you learn the most? And of course, nobody wants to say, "Hey, I want to lose," but which loss you think has helped you make you a better fighter today? That it's like in the big picture, I may have needed that to get to where I want to go.
Yeah, I think the Brandon Davis one was big just because it was such a war. And I hadn't been in a lot of my fights, I was knocking guys out, man. I was touching guys and just putting them out. And that fight, I mean, I hit him clean a ton, and he took it, and he came back. And that kind of taught me something about digging deep. I had to, even though I lost, I mean, he cut me up. I was busted up and still moving forward that whole fight. So I kind of learned something about myself in that fight, about digging deep and realizing, because, you don't really know how much you got inside of you until it happens. Until you have to prove it. And so that fight, I was able to prove that I do have a lot inside me. And then the Dawoodu fight, that one I learned a lot from too, about overthinking fights. I was out there thinking too much instead of being a reactive fighter, just going off reactions and instinct. I was trying to outthink him, and that cost me in that fight. So I learned a lot about myself and a lot of good things.
Yeah, very cool, man. Very cool. Did you have the quote unquote UFC octagon jitters? Did you have any of that when you had your first fight against Corey?
That one was weird because I took it on like 7 days notice.
Yeah.
So it all just happened so fast. I didn't really have much time to get nervous even. So I got the fight, and then I was just like, shit, I gotta cut a bunch of weight. I gotta just do all this stuff. And so that one was just a blur. That whole first fight it was weird. It was like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It just happened so fast, and before I knew it, the fight was over, and I lost. And it was like, what the fuck was this last week? What the hell is going on? But so I didn't have too much jitters, honestly, for that one. I think the Dawoodu one was the worst one, just because I was overthinking so much and trying to overanalyze fighting when. When it comes down to it, you're getting in a fist fight, man. You can't overthink it too much.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you think Shane poses? Do you know anything about him, or you just gonna go, I'm gonna do my thing and I'm gonna get my hand raised, or do you have like a legit strategy?
Yeah, so we've been going over some stuff that he does. He's a pressure fighter. He likes to move forward. He doesn't have a lot of power, and I think. He's not the most athletic guy. I think I'm a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot more athletic. So I'm going to try to kind of expose him with that. I'm just being the better athlete in this fight and kind of making him pay for just being kind of slow. And I think you'll see that in the fight.
Yeah, I was trying to go through his Twitter right now to see if he was talking any smack, but doesn't look like he was. So
yeah, he knows better.
So you get your hand raised. Are we gonna see? So you get on that mic and make a plea, or you just gonna try to climb your way up the ranks the quiet way?
Oh, dude, that's the thing is, I wanted to get on the mic after my last fight. Sometimes TV, the way TV works, they only got a certain amount of time, so sometimes you don't get that interview. But this one, my fight will be on. It'll be the main event on the ESPN prelims. So I'm hoping that I'll for sure be able to get on that mic and get out, be able to call out. I got some names in mind already after I win this fight that I want to pursue. And after this fight, hopefully, I start looking to break into the top 15. So get this one passed, and then start looking at somebody ranked in the top 15 and taking them out and moving up the ranks. But yeah, you gotta call your shot. You can't just sit back and wait for things to happen. You gotta make things happen. So I definitely plan on doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, man. That's a good way to look at it. Did you watch the whole card last night?
Oh yeah, man. I'm an MMA fanatic. I watch fights nonstop. So yeah, I watched the whole card.
What did you think about the whole new look, new presentation, ESPN feel, and all that good stuff?
I don't like the music, brother. I don't like the music though. The music's kind of cheesy.
I love loving ESPN, being on ESPN. I think that's just huge for the sport. Fox was good, but ESPN's another level. With all the big time sports and mainstream and everything, that's huge. The belt, I don't know about the belt yet. That one's gonna take a little bit for me to grow on. I think at first I didn't like it. It's starting to come around a little bit more now that I'm seeing it. I don't know. Change is weird, man. Seeing something for so long and then changing it always throws you a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I've appreciated all the memes and everything that we've seen about it, but it'll take some getting used to. I think it does look a lot better, like in person when the lights are hitting it and it's moving around a little bit. Yeah. When you saw
the pictures of it, I was like, not digging it so much. When I saw it get wrapped around Cejudo's waist, though, I was like, okay, that looks pretty dope. That's not bad. And then it's kind of cool how it's different. They got like a bunch of different stuff on it, different meanings on the belt, and then you add another gem or whatever every time you defend it. So that's kind of cool, a little different.
Right.
Yeah. No, the features of it are pretty sweet, and it's just I like the change. I mean, some people don't want to change things. I like it. I like the presentation. I like the pacing. At least
the pacing was really good. We don't got these random like throw-in fights and they show you something. In case you missed something on the Fight Pass, we're gonna bring it to you on the real presentation because we got this time to fill.
Dude, yeah, the pacing was way better for the ESPN. Watching a Fox card is brutal, man.
Make you go to sleep.
Yeah, it never ends. What time zone are you guys on?
We're Central.
Central time.
Oh, you're Central. So yeah, like those Eastern time, man. Those guys, I feel bad for them. Those fights not getting over till like 2 a.m. sometimes. Yeah, screw that.
Speaking of time zone, what are you gonna do with your body? Because I know just watching the fights and I'm going from Central to East. Like I went to the first two big ones at MSG, and we're not getting out of the our media stuff's not even done till like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, shh. About to fall asleep. Like, I bet you gotta go up there and whoop somebody's ass in there, and you're gonna be like at a 8 or 9 hour deficit, right? Going to Australia.
So they're 19 hours ahead of me. 19 hours ahead. So
that's insane.
Basically that works out. So it's 5 hours different. Like the time will be about 5 hours different because they're 19 hours ahead. So they'll be 5 hours behind us. So in Australia, I'll be fighting it'll be 1:30 Sunday afternoon when I fight. 1:30 Sunday afternoon. So I don't know. It's gonna be weird. I never fought that early before. 1:30 in the afternoon. Used to fight at like 8 o'clock at night always. So we'll see how it works. I'm not trying to overthink it too much. I'll get there, and I fly out 9 days before my fight. So I'll get there, figure it out, get adjusted, and then make it happen.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good amount of time, I think, to get acclimated.
Yeah. It'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it. I did the Argentina one last time, and there's 4 or 5 hours difference, and I got used to it. You just gotta do what you gotta do. So you can't really bitch about it, or you just gotta make it happen. So no point in dwelling on it too much.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Do you have any like fight week like rituals that you go through, like to kind of keep your mind off the fights or anything like that?
Not much. I mean, I'm gonna try to explore a little bit. Being in Australia, it's summertime there. It's like 90 degrees, so you're gonna have to hit up the beach a couple times, I think, and maybe go fuck around with some kangaroos or something. I don't know. Gotta do something.
I feel
we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country, man. We got some buddies out there in the media that are from that area, so they always brag about it.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to get out of this. It's cold as shit where I'm at, so snowing and everything. So I'm ready to get out of that.
No doubt. So before I let you go, man, give me your official prediction how it's gonna go down.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be an exciting fight. Like I said, he's gonna press forward. He's a pressure fighter. He's gonna throw a lot of punches, come at me. I'm gonna be angling off, being quick, being the more athletic guy, catching him with the bigger shots, and then I see myself clipping him, putting him out, probably round 2. Go with that. Round 2. Put it down.
All right, man. Hey, and the Slipping Dip podcast, we have a saying: you ball, you get the call. So when you knock him out, we gotta get you back on a week or two afterwards.
Hell yeah, man. Sounds good with me.
All right, man. I'll be hitting you up when you get that hand raise.
Do it, brother.
Sounds good, man. Best of luck to you, and we look forward to the fight, man. Can't wait for it.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
Please welcome back to the Slip and Dip podcast, a good friend of the show, one of the best trainers in the world, trainer of champions, trainer of a very big name on ESPN Plus last night in one Greg Hardy. Mr. Dean Thomas joining us back on the Slipping Dead podcast. What's going on, man?
Yeah, man, it's tough times right now.
Tough times, man. So
guess what happened behind the scenes? That's what we want to know. What happened behind the scenes? My personal take is, you just had an inexperienced guy that made a mistake, because you got some of these people that are trolling my man, talking about, you see how he responds when somebody, because they said because he was taunting the guy who was fighting was taunting Greg, that he responded violently, and that's what he do, instead of just like, it's a fight. Like, there's no friends in fighting. You don't play MMA. You don't play boxing.
I mean, I've been kind of going back and forth with this all day and thinking about it all day. It's like, and, I kind of blame myself too. And sometimes I underestimate the magnitude of the UFC because I've been doing it so long. And when you really put it in perspective, like being locked inside of a cage to fist fight another human being is a pretty intimidating experience. And I saw Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy's an athlete who competed at the highest level in the NFL. But again, that's still with a team. And that's still with, you got, 52 players around you. And you're with a team. But being in a cage so vulnerable, it's just you, a pair of shorts. You got no shirt on, just you, shorts and gloves. And that's the most intimidating place on earth. I mean, we're in the back in the room with Donald Cerrone, and he's talking about, he goes through it every night talking about, like, why is he still doing this? And this is a Hall of Famer. And and then you take a guy like Greg Hardy, who's been training 2 years. This guy's been training for 2 years. In Naga tournaments, that's still a beginner level. And he's the co-main event of a UFC event. And this guy who only knows, play to the whistle. That's all he knows. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to take responsibility for that, man. I didn't mentally prepare him enough for the experience. I mean, it's something that I just overlooked because I've been doing it for 20 years. I mean, I've been involved in the UFC since 2001. I've been fighting in cages since the 90s. And, and I go to shows every week, and Greg's just not used to that. He just wasn't ready for that experience.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. I mean, what did you think about the way he came out? Because to me, watching it seemed like he came out a little bit anxious. Did you feel that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, here's a guy, like I said, he's only been in a cage fighting guys 6 times. Yeah. And 3 of those times, and 2 or 3 of those times, 2 of them were on the Contender Series, and that's in a room with 20 people around. Now you put him in a cage at the Barclays Center with 10,000 people around, all booing him, and you're talking about a professional football player who played defensive end, who only knows sack the quarterback. So he came out to sack the quarterback. So he kicked back to those instincts. Everybody's booing him. He kicked back to those instincts, and he just wasn't ready for that moment. And I feel bad that he was put in that situation, that I allowed that to happen. And I feel bad that I let that happen. So, I mean, it was a learning experience for all of us to go, you know what, man, MMA is not a sport where you could just be a tough guy and fight. I mean, there's a lot more to it. And, while he is one of the best athletes I've ever worked with, when you put a guy in a cage with all those different circumstances around it, man, something, you just never know what's going to happen. And unfortunately, what happened. And it's unfortunate because and I'm not trying to say Greg's the victim here. No, absolutely not. But what I'm saying is that, he just wasn't ready for that at that time.
Yeah, do you think they kind of set him up to fail? Because, who else is in that slot? And you got the magnitude of the first ESPN Plus added on that you can't script. It's kind of like that this was bigger than some pay-per-views, literally.
No, they didn't set him up to fail at all. I mean, I think they wanted Greg to win. I think they set him up to succeed. It's just, I think even the UFC, underestimates the magnitude of what they are, and what it takes to be a true professional fighter. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. And from the outside, it looks like, oh, man, just get in there and fight. Train hard and get in there and fight. But to get in there, like I said, to get in there so vulnerable and to put yourself on a line in front of thousands of people and millions, if you talk about the viewing audience, you put yourself in front of millions of people and fist fight another human being, you just can't. You just don't know what that feels like unless you've done it before. And I don't think they set him up to fail. I think they set him up to succeed. It's just he wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that 100%. What did you think, though, as the fight was playing out? What did you think of how he was working out of these positions? We haven't seen him off his back before. Were you pleased with the way that he was able to get back to his feet, after getting taken down a couple of times?
Well, I work a lot with Greg, and to be honest with you, Greg is even better. But Greg is better than that. I think that again, he just got a little overwhelmed with the experience. I think Greg is a lot better than what he showed in that cage. He just got overwhelmed with the experience and wanted to prove something to himself and to the fans who hated him. He really wanted to do good and prove something that he could fight at that level. And I know he could fight at that level. He just didn't show it fully that night because of the, all the distractions, the crowd, the media, like all week just having to deal with so much. And, every time he probably opened up his phone, he saw another interview about, Greg Hardy, Rachel. So, I mean, it was a lot of distraction for this young fighter. And I don't think he performed to his ability. I thought he was a bit wild and reckless. But I know he's better than that. I think that, it's just time that, we just learn from it. And I think that, another shot, we go back to the drawing board and just give him another shot and go, all right, let's do better next time. We can do better.
How crazy do you think the fact that people keep talking about stuff that had nothing to do with the cage about him? Like, it's not like his situation even involved Rachel. When they kept talking about it and making a big deal, do you think that's just a side of the UFC media, the MMA media, or you just think that people were looking for stuff because it's like that we need something to talk about, so let's drum up this controversy? Because to me, it ever since this card been announced, it's like people been looking for something.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you always want to look for something. That's the job of the media. To sell, media has an obligation to help sell for their sponsors. I mean, that's what they do. So, obviously, that sells, bringing people back to these different topics, just trying to sell something. But at the end of the day, I mean, and it has an effect on these guys, and I wish it didn't, but it really does. And, we just have to try to do a better job of keeping them away from it. But I know it had to have some type of effect on him because he really wanted to go out and prove to everybody that he was better than that. And he wanted to go out and prove to everybody that he could just knock this guy out, within the first 10 seconds. And he really went out swinging, guns blazing, and he, just got a bit wild and uncontrollable. And, by the second round, I thought he started to look really good in the second round. He slowed down in the second round, but by that time he was exhausted and he couldn't really, perform to his ability. So, like I said, it's all a learning experience, and I think he's going to be a better fighter from this because now he knows what it feels like to be in a real MMA fight, to really have to dig deep, because until you can feel that, you don't know what it's like. Because anybody can watch it on TV and say, oh, I want to do that. And because in their head, they're thinking they're just going to punch a guy and knock him out. But when you get out there and your lungs are burning and you're like, oh, my goodness, this is tough. It's a different experience than what you expected.
Yeah. There's a lot of truth to that, man. And I can't speak to it on the UFC level, but I can speak to it in my first BJJ competition I entered. Like, we're rolling for months and months and months, and you get out there when it counts, and you're like, oh, shit. Like, where did my cardio go?
Yeah, your forearms are burning because your hands hurt from grabbing the gi, and you're just tired, and you're like, why am I so tired? It's a different experience. And for Greg, it was like, you take him from, they pulled him from the a fight in Pensacola, Florida, against one opponent, and then say, you know what, you're going to fight, a month and a half later, and you're going to be the co-main event at the Barclays Center on ESPN's first show. So not only is it just a UFC event, but this is a big monumental event, and it was a lot for him to process. Yes.
So how quick do you want to get him back in there then?
I don't know, man. And this is something I've always said before. I'm not trying to rush him. I never wanted to rush him, but you can't turn down opportunities. That's the thing. That's the thing. You just can't turn down opportunities in life. Like, if you get a job opportunity, you got to take it. And I'm not faulting the UFC for that, and I'm not faulting Greg for that. But at the same time, like, I do want him to sit back and just work on becoming a better mixed martial artist. Like, it's one thing to be a great athlete, but it's another thing to be a mixed martial artist and to learn how to fight. And that was something that even Alex Hernandez said that he learned from his loss to Cowboy Cerrone. He needs to learn how to be a fighter. And that's the same thing with Greg. He needs to learn. He's still working that out. Like, he hasn't had time to learn how to be a fighter. And all of a sudden, we expect him to be a fighter, and we can't, because he hasn't had time to learn it yet.
Here's a two-part question thing. One is what you said about Alex Hernandez. I know you were about your own fight. Kind of basically like, hey, we need to regroup with Greg. What do you think about these corners that let these guys go out here? Okay, he got through the ranks by being a pressure fighter. We're just going to pressure everybody. Like, when you start getting in the top 10 and stuff, you can't be doing that. You fight legends like Cowboy, you got to have a plan B or plan C in your life. And a lot of these fools do not. Or you get somebody that gets like to a gatekeeper status, they get to like that top 5, and they can't beat the top 5 dudes because they think what they do best is going to win. And it's not. It's like, why come people don't have multiple plans or multiple tools in their tool shed, and they don't understand? You're not going to be a championship with one tool. Not in today's MMA.
Well, most guys just aren't good enough. Again, most guys just aren't good enough. To be honest with you, most guys aren't. So, like, here's what you do: is you have a really good plan A, and then when that fails, you say, you know what I'm going to be? I'm going to be an entertaining fighter. Because I don't have a plan B. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to entertain the fans and stand toe-to-toe. And one of us going to get knocked out. Either way, I'm going to be an exciting fighter so that the people will love me. And that's what happens when you're not that good. Because if everybody, listen, you can say what you want about the Floyd Mayweather style of fighting, but if everybody could do it, everybody would do it.
Exactly.
So because you can't do it, you resort to just standing toe to toe and being an entertaining fighter. And honestly, I really don't have a problem with that, because sometimes in your career, that's just where you're at. Like, a lot of older fighters, when you get your older fighter status, you go, man, I'm not as quick. I'm not as, I can't compete with these young guys. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm be a fan favorite. I'm going to stand there and be a fan favorite. And that's fine. Mickey Ward, Arturo Gotti, greatest fighter of all time. But these are two journeymen at the end of the day. They were two journeymen. But they stood toe to toe and made a name for themselves doing that. But they weren't the cream of the crop of fighters at that time.
So basically, it's kind of like the equivalent, like you got those guys that hustle in football or be a hustle man and take charges in basketball, because they got to do that because they lacking talent. So that's basically that's the equivalent in MMA style then.
Oh, absolutely. Like, when you don't have the ability to do other things, you will always have the ability to entertain people by taking risks and just having guts, because people can identify with that. Not everybody can do, what Demetrius Johnson does, a takedown right to a flying armbar. Not everybody can do that, and they can't even identify with that. But what they can identify with is having guts. And that's just knuckling down, biting down on your mouthpiece, standing there and throwing punches. People can identify with that.
Yeah, so true. So true. Did you speak to Dana after the fight?
Yeah, I did. I did speak to Dana, and Dana just said, "Man, he made a rookie mistake," and I agree. I mean, he just and I appreciate Dana's sentiment towards that, because Dana has a job to do and he has a business to run, and it's and he could be hard on fighters sometimes and go, man, but he saw Greg and said, here's a fighter who didn't quit, and he just made a rookie mistake, and he did. I mean, he's right. Greg did make a rookie mistake.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I took it in the moment, because it looked like he just mistimed the knee, and of course, online everybody's gonna be like, oh, of course he did this on purpose. That's his character and all this other crap. And the man was up there. The man was up there crying in the post-fight press conference. Like, he was. I mean, nobody's ever going to give him the benefit of the doubt, just because of his past.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's really bad about it, because, I mean, he's already taken so much. He's already been through so much. And again, I'm not trying to victimize him, but I'm just the facts is he's been through so much, and he was trying to make a statement and turn things around, and then something so unfortunate. I mean, literally, my heart dropped when it happened, because I knew what it was when it happened, and I was just like, oh, this is not good. this is not good.
One thing about that that nobody's really talking about is that
he milked it.
No. Well, possibly because as soon as it happened, Big Dan said if he can't get up, I'm calling it a DQ. Like he announced that to everyone.
You can't do that.
Like that could kind of play into the guy to be like, all right, I'm not gonna get up then. Like I got to win in the back.
Yeah. He probably shouldn't have did that. But at the same time, like I kind of knew right away.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah,
I knew right away. Like I've been involved in this game so long that like I know right away what's about to happen. And as soon as I saw that knee and I saw my man go back, I said he's not getting up, and this is going to be a disqualification. Yeah. And that's why my heart just sank, and I said, "Damn, this sucks." And I literally at that moment just wanted to crawl under the cage and just wait till everybody left. It was a disheartening feeling because I know what Greg wanted to do and how he wanted to come across to people and just change, and he just wanted to be, he wants to be one of the good guys, and for this to happen was just unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, like as far as like him wanting to be one of the good guys things, I think that there's a lot of people that are on the fence. I mean, they're not completely on the fence. They're still on the side of we hate him, but they're climbing up that fence. And I know we've talked about it with him and you in the past, like until he addresses that head on and says, I'm sorry about what happened before, like he's not going to win over that crowd ever. I just don't see that happening,
Well, I can't really speak for that. I don't know much about that situation, and I didn't know Greg back then. All I know about is him now, and just how hard he works in order to try to provide for him and his family. I got to meet his wife, and she's just a sweetheart, and it just I just know what he wants out of his life, and it just sucks that it didn't work out for him this weekend. Like I almost would have preferred him to just had a really good fight and lost than to go out in this way and everybody think that he cheated and he did this intentionally, because by no means do I think that he did this intentional. I think it was just a move that, like I said, he's just a guy who saw an opportunity and didn't have the awareness or the experience to know, you know what I'm saying? And it's just a bad situation.
A lot of people were making it out to be like this was the first illegal knee ever to a downed opponent too. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean we've seen this over and over again. I mean we can, it's almost every card where a guy gets, and the rules are his hands are down, is his hand down, and that's obvious. Like if his knee is down, that's the truth. But we've seen it before where guys like thought that just because neither of his hands were down that he could knee him. And sometimes like when you're in the heat of the moment, like this is what people don't understand. When you are in the heat of the moment in battle, like you are just thinking, what do I need to do to win? And you see an opportunity and you just take it. And that is not exclusive with Greg Hardy. That's with any fighter. Like it takes a tremendous like mental, this mental capacity to be able to have that and to have that awareness. And again, we're talking about a guy who's only been in the cage 6 times in the span of a year and a half.
Yeah, and last night was the longest combined of all those previous fights.
It's like, if you count his cage time, it's been about, in 6 fights, it's been about 5 minutes. He's been in the cage for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, he started in November 2017, so it ain't been a year and a half. So we're talking about what, 15 months,
and not even 5 minutes of cage time, like you said. It's crazy.
I mean,
not even 15 minutes, really. Yeah,
we can't expect him to make decisions like like have Anderson Silva type mental, faculties. He's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild, and he's always going to have this negative stigma to him. There's a lot of people that will never convert to, I guess, be a fan of Greg Hardy, so to speak. But I mean, I get it. I understand that as well. But I mean, I think he deserves a fair shake. And then when people were like, there was people reacting when Dana said, yeah, he's going to get another shot. There was a lot of people like, why? I mean, like you said, like you believe he can compete at this level. Octagon jitters, we give everybody else benefit of the doubt when it comes to octagon jitters and everything like that. I mean, you got to give him that fair shake at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, and I hate to keep bringing this up, but, at the end of the day, like, the UFC is a numbers game. It's a ratings game.
Yes.
And fighters can complain about him getting this spot on, being the co-main event of the show, but it's a ratings game. And what they don't understand is that, like, Greg did not call the UFC and go, hey, can I get on this spot? He did not do that. He did not. He just said, listen, I'm here to fight. I will take opportunities because I'm a fighter, just like you are. Just like everybody else. I want to be a fighter just like everybody else. And I'm going to take opportunities as they come, just like anybody would do. And he didn't ask for it. They asked him to do it, and he did it. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out in the best way that it could have. And he tried. I mean, I really believe he did his best. He's just fucking not experienced.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, man. It's a tough spot. Experience is something that you can only get by being in there. So
yeah, we see experienced fighters make mistakes all the time.
Yeah,
we see guys with experience make mistakes all the time, and not only is he inexperienced, but the only experience he has in combat, and I'll say combat and football, is that you play to the whistle. You crush the quarterback until they blow the whistle, and then you keep going if the ball is loose. It's just go, 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 and that's his experience. Go, 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 go. And unfortunately, it didn't translate over well into this situation.
What do you think's next for Greg?
Well, I haven't really talked to him much afterwards. I like to give fighters their space. But, the same as everybody else, I listened to him and I read the transcript of what he said about wanting to get back in the gym. So he's going to get back in the gym and just grind out. But I know he's going to learn from this and know that, there's more to fighting than just knocking a guy out in 30 seconds and then just being patient and, being a little bit more aware of different situations and opportunities for you. So, I think Greg is going to be fine. He'll be fine. It's a good learning experience, and it's better that it happened now than later. I mean, he's still young in his career, so it's better that it happened now and he can grow from this.
Yeah,
that's good. Hey, to tell him we definitely got a platform for him, man. We on y'all team, man, because I just don't like it that he's not getting a fair shake. And it's like people want to put this factor, but they want to put the whole factor. When you look at the whole factor, it's like it is what it is, but it's not bad for the sport and all this stuff that people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, but it's an easy target. It's an easy target, and people love to attack easy targets because it's just if somebody living foul in their life, it's easy to attack somebody else. So he's an easy target for people, but he's just got to accept it and just move on.
Yeah, and then to be fair, like there's a lot of critics out there that they're justified on it. There's a lot of females that cover the sport that have been victims of domestic violence themselves, and they're like, I want nothing to do with it. And I completely understand that. If that's the road you want to take, I'm with it. Like, it's fine. But when other people are trying to, just cover him as a fighter, I mean, like, he deserves that fair shake. So, at least when it comes to the sporting aspect of it. So that's all I want to see from it. I'm interested to see how he does improve because I know with your tutelage and your expertise in this sport, I think he's going to look a lot different next time he gets in there, man. So I'm intrigued to see what happens next for him.
And from that aspect, I'm kind of, I always try to look towards positives, and like while this whole situation sucks, the loss sucks, unfortunately, even for, the young man, Alan Crowder, he can't really be happy. I mean, I thought Alan Crowder fought a really smart fight. He fought a really good fight. I know his team. They fought a really good fight. But, Greg's sake, I always try to look towards the positives, and I think that this is going to be a good thing for him in the long run to say, you know what, there's a lot of things about the fight game that I did not understand that now I do understand after being in there under them situations. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to be in there with a guy who, who's not just going to stand there for me. And he's got a good game plan against me. So now I have to make adjustments. So he's gonna learn a lot from this.
Do you think Crowder was tired? Because it seemed like that wrestler wore him out as much as it wore Greg out.
Yeah, I mean, both guys were tired. Crowder, again, like Crowder did his homework. Like they did their homework. They did their homework on Greg, and they knew what they wanted to do to him. But Greg's still a big boy, and Crowder still had he still ate some shots early on. He still, struggled to get the takedown, and right before he got kneed, he didn't get the takedown. So like that had to wear on him as well. I think that it's easy to. I've read some things where they were like, "Oh, Greg was just looking for a way out," but because he was tired. But Crowder had to be tired himself. Like he didn't get that takedown. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't in a great position. It was not like Greg was in a bad position. It's not like Crowder was in a good position. He was in a bad position. Yeah. And it didn't look like like Greg probably could have finished that legally. Like he could have probably uppercut him and knocked him out. And then we'd be at a different narrative today had he uppercut him and knocked him out. So
he'd be on the show.
Yeah, so this is we'd be talking something different today.
Right.
But at heavyweight, man, when you moving a lot of weight around like that, like both guys are gonna be tired. So, of course Crowder was tired. I mean, he had a little spunk in him, though. I mean, I can appreciate his little enthusiasm in that second round talking trash. I can appreciate that. He had spunk in him. But of course he was tired. Like I don't know what he could say he wasn't, but if he wasn't tired, he would have got that takedown. But he didn't.
Right.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like him doing that, like that's another aspect of like he gave him so many fighting lessons, I think, in that one moment. Like not only just like how to get out of these tough positions, but then have the guy flip the switch on you and start talking trash, like hardcore in the middle of a fight, and then like okay, like am I gonna react to this or not? And it seemed like, from what I can see, like it didn't seem like Greg really like got amped up about that. But I don't know. Did he say anything to you after that about that?
No, we haven't talked about it. I didn't want to get to him. Like I said, I always give fighters a space. It'll probably be weeks before we talk about it. And I want to have an honest conversation with him. Sometimes it's hard to really get to fighters and have an honest conversation with them because, right after the fight, they're so emotionally kind of distraught at times that they won't give you the truth. And then sometimes, like when it's too far removed, then they just gonna lie about it anyway. So I got to make sure I got to time this fight to have a conversation with him and go, so what was going on, man? Let's watch this and tell me what's going on and be honest with me.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's a little insight why this man's one of the best in the game. He got you with the physical and the mental side.
Absolutely.
Listen, man. I've been dealing with fighters since the '90s, man. I know how them idiots think.
Yeah, man. So what do you have coming up next, man? I know you've been all over the place coming on the Joe Rogan Experience. It was a fantastic episode of that. I enjoyed that.
Man, I'm gonna take a break a little bit as far as like, some of the, these last couple of weeks have been, I've been kind of hitting it hard on social media and, doing my thing. But, these next couple of weeks, Tyron Woodley's got a fight coming up. And
that's the next one you're cornering?
Yeah. So, we getting in camp soon and, Tyron Woodley, man, it's gang.
Yeah.
He's like Adrien Broner. We got a gang.
Yeah, I don't F with a lot of people when it comes to that, man. It's gang. So, I got to take a break a little bit. Got to leave. I'm leaving Top Team for a couple of weeks just to focus on that so that we can remain at and still status.
Yeah, no doubt. At least you guys keep it 100. When it comes to wins and losses, unlike AB. I don't know if you saw all of that last night.
I didn't get a chance to see it, man. I was I was in Brooklyn. Obviously, I was in Brooklyn, but I didn't get a chance to see it. And but
I'll just run this back. I'll just run it down for you real quick. Adrien Broner at most won 2 rounds, and then as soon as the final bell rung, convinced he won that fight. Like everybody's like, bro, no, you did not. No.
Hey, listen, I just told you about fighters, and I know how them idiots think. And so you gotta catch them at the right time where they're ready to be honest. And like right after the fight, they're not ready to be honest with themselves.
That's That's how it is, man. We appreciate you coming on, man, to break this whole thing down. I know it's a major topic in the world of MMA coming out of last night, so we always appreciate you coming on to Slip and Dip, and of course giving us your time, man. We always appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. I know this was on the fly.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys too, man. I guess I get the real point that I want to come across with this whole thing was to say, man, like, when it's in terms of Greg, man, I blame myself, really. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I could have prepared him better for the moment. And again, like, I just, being involved for so long, I underestimate how big it could be, how overwhelming it could be. And I blame myself for not getting him better prepared mentally to deal with being inside of that cage and all them people around and staying focused. And it's kind of my fault, So, yeah, I blame myself.
Hey, honest words, man. Don't beat yourself up too hard about it, though.
Yeah, we know you'll be back better than ever after your 2 weeks sabbatical.
All right, fellas. So I'll catch up with y'all.
Appreciate it, Dean, as always.